What if the biggest thing people over 65 believe about aging is quietly setting them up for regret they won't see until it's almost too late? What if the idea that time will sort things out is actually the one belief that steals the most from your final decades? Because something subtle happens as you age. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't feel dangerous. In fact, it feels normal, comfortable, even wise, but it creates a gap. And most people never notice that gap until something forces them to. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see exactly what that missing piece is, and why the people who live the longest, happiest lives after 70 don't think the way most people do. There's a reason researchers have spent decades studying aging, and the patterns are not random. Large-scale American studies on aging populations have tracked millions of people over time. What they found is both simple and unsettling. The difference between thriving and declining after 70 often has very little to do with genetics, and almost everything to do with patterns that started decades earlier. And here's the twist. Those patterns don't feel like mistakes when they begin. They feel like responsibility, like survival, like doing the right thing. Let's go back to where it really starts. In early adulthood, most people build their lives around urgency. Work harder, say yes more, push through stress, delay rest, delay joy, delay connection. You're taught that success comes from constant effort, that discipline means ignoring your body, your emotions, your limits. And for a while, it works. Careers grow, families are built, life moves forward. But something is quietly forming underneath all of that. A habit of postponing yourself. Then your 40s arrive, and this is where the shift begins. But almost no one notices it. The body starts sending small signals. Sleep changes, energy dips, recovery takes longer, stress lingers, but most people don't adjust. Instead, they double down on the same patterns. More work, more worrying, less movement, less connection. According to U.S. health surveys, over 60% of adults in their 40s report chronic stress, yet fewer than 1 in 3 actively change their daily habits in response. That's the moment the gap widens, because while life looks stable on the outside, inside, systems are slowly being strained. Then comes the phase no one prepares you for. After 70, the rules change, and this is where the mystery starts to reveal itself. The same habits that once helped you survive begin to work against you. Your body no longer compensates the way it used to. Your mind prioritizes differently. Your tolerance for stress drops. But here's the problem. Most people don't update their behavior. They keep living as if nothing has changed. And that leads to the breaking point. It doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's a fall, a health scare, a sudden loss of energy. Sometimes it's quieter. Loneliness creeping in, motivation fading, days starting to feel repetitive. Research shows that nearly 40% of Americans over 70 report feelings of isolation, even when they have family around them. That's not accidental. That's a pattern. And now you're starting to see the fallout. Health declines faster. Medical costs rise. Independence starts slipping away. Not because aging is cruel, but because the habits didn't evolve. And this is where most people try to fix things. They look for quick solutions. Diets, supplements, rigid routines. But those fixes often fail. Why? Because they're trying to solve a long-term pattern with short-term effort. They're treating symptoms, not the cause. So what's the cause? It comes down to 6 golden habits that people who age well tend to follow. But most people never fully adopt. And here's the key. These habits are not about doing more. They're about doing differently. The first habit is strategic rest. Not laziness, not avoidance, but intentional recovery. Studies show that seniors who prioritize consistent, high-quality rest have significantly lower rates of cognitive decline. Yet many still believe rest equals weakness. The second habit is selective effort. The healthiest seniors don't try to do everything. They focus on what matters and let go of what does and single quotes t. This reduces stress, preserves energy, and protects mental clarity. The third habit is daily movement, not occasional exercise. You don't need intense workouts. What matters is consistency. Walking, stretching, staying active throughout the day. Data shows that even light daily movement can reduce mortality risk by up to 30%. In older adults, the fourth habit is emotional boundaries. This is one most people ignore. After 70, your emotional energy becomes one of your most valuable resources. The people who protect it thrive. The ones who don't burn out quietly. The fifth habit is curiosity. This might surprise you. People who continue learning, exploring, asking questions, maintain stronger cognitive function. It's not about intelligence, it's about engagement. And finally, the sixth habit, connection with intention. Not just being around people, but choosing meaningful interactions, because shallow connections don't protect you. Deep ones do. Now here's where everything comes together. These habits are not new, but most people delay them. They wait until something goes wrong, until they feel the decline, until the gap becomes visible, and by then, it's harder to recover. So here's the question you should be asking yourself right now. What am I still postponing that actually matters most? Because the difference between struggle and strength after 70 is rarely about one big decision. It's about small, repeated choices made earlier than most people think. If you're over 60, there are 3 things you can start today. First, protect 1 hour of your day. No stress, no obligations. Use it for movement, rest, or reflection. Second, remove one draining influence, a habit, a task, or even a person that consistently lowers your energy. Third, add one meaningful connection each week, a real conversation, not small talk. These sound simple, but their impact compounds fast. Now, here's the warning. Ignoring small declines doesn't keep life stable. It accelerates the drop when it finally shows. That's not opinion. That's backed by decades of aging research. And one last thought to leave you with. What if the life you want after 70, inbuilt later, but quietly shaped right now, in ways you don't even realize yet? If that idea made you pause, then you're starting to see what most people miss. If this made you think differently, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and drop a comment with the habit you're going to start first. And if you want the next piece of this puzzle, the one thing almost no one talks about that changes everything after 75, make sure you subscribe.